All right, the time to clean light is on in the Nugget Ice Maker. I want to go over my process of how I clean and descale it. There's some things that you need to watch out for that aren't in the instructions. This thing needs to be cleaned, and you have to stay on top of the upkeep. But before I get into that, I just kind of want to go over it for anybody that's thinking about getting one of these. You know, kind of the pluses and minuses of it, I guess, or just go over it. The great thing about this is that it makes nugget ice. Nugget ice is, you know, that satisfying ice that you get at Chick-fil-A. You know, when you pour your drink in the ice, it absorbs the flavor of the drink. You can chew the ice, and it cools your drink off fast. So nugget ice is really great. And having your own standalone ice maker versus having ice made in the freezer or refrigerator is a big plus too. You always have fresh ice with this, whereas ice that's made in the fridge can get stale and kind of funky after a while. How this freestanding ice maker works is that the ice comes up through the auger, gets chopped off into these little nugget-sized pieces. And as the, hey Pepper, as the ice melts in the bin, new ice falls in because it has this ultrasonic sensor in the top that detects the level of the ice. Funny dog. You want a piece of ice? Want some ice? Here you go. Eat that ice. So it constantly makes new ice and you get fresh ice. If you don't clean it, you won't get fresh ice. So this bin down here holds 20 pounds of ice, and it makes 65 pounds of ice throughout the day. I guess if you constantly, hey Rosie, you want some ice too? If you constantly pull the ice out, the capacity to make is 65 pounds, but it only holds 20 pounds of ice in the bin, which is plenty, to be honest. But the good thing is you always have fresh ice. Now, Viking outsources the manufacturing to Scotsman. So I guess there's Scotsman units like this that the cleaning process is very similar. Get your nose out of there. So as Pepper's pointing out, it's got a scoop and it's got a little bracket to hold it in there. But I guess the other stats of this thing is that it makes ice at a minimum temperature of, I think, 50 degrees, or else the unit will start freezing up. Or it's not the ideal temperature. The ideal temperature is between, what did it say, 60 and 80 degrees, somewhere in there. You know, the maximum temperature, 100 degrees. So here in Florida, you wouldn't want to have this thing outside making ice. It would be too hard on the machine. So I guess that's about it. It's been a great unit so far. I've had it since 2019. It's 2023. So I guess the downside is that, yeah, it does require a lot of maintenance. And, you know, we live in Florida. The water is hard because the water travels through the aquifer, through the limestone, and there's a lot of minerals in it. I'm actually thinking about getting a water filter system just for this. We also have a fancy Mealy built-in coffee maker. That thing has to be descaled all the time too because of the hardness of our water. I think I'm not going to get a whole house water system. They have, Culligan makes one that's good, but I think I'm just going to have one for this and one for the coffee maker, and that'll be good because those are the only appliances that really require it. Guess the dishwasher does too, but that's about it. Anyway, everybody in the house loves this Nugget Ice Maker. I think it's worth it. So let's clean it. All right, so what you're gonna need is you're gonna need some Clorox to sanitize the bin. But the main solution is gonna be the phosphoric acid. You need a squirt bottle, and the other spray bottle is to dilute the bleach to spray it in the bin to sanitize it. You want to clean the outside of it with just regular detergent. The best way to clean stainless steel is just use warm water in this detergent and then use stainless steel polish at the end, and that keeps it clean. You got to have gloves because that acid is bad news. That's a concentrated solution that has to be diluted in water, and we'll go over that later. The vacuum is to clean out the compressor, and the drill is to get the kick plate off. So I believe that's it. You know, the scrubber, brush, and oh, you need gloves. Did I say that? But anyway, that's it. So let's do this. All right, so what else? The other thing you want to do is to take off the service panel and the kick plate so that you can vacuum off the condenser. That's part of the process. So let me do that. There's that. And then there's one screw for that. And then there's two screws for the kick plate. One. The other one. And it comes off just like this. So it's a stainless steel cover and a plastic part. So there's that. Now you see how dirty the condenser is? You know, the dust buildup, if you have pets, that gets dirty and that needs to be vacuumed out. So let me get the vacuum and take care of that mess. One thing you want to do is be careful of those fins. You don't want to bend the fins and restrict the airflow. So I'm going to try to be careful with that. I'll try to vacuum and hold the flashlight at the same time. Maybe I can just prop it. Maybe I'll hit it with a duster here. This should be good enough. All right, first you want to take out the scoop and then press the bracket so it's flush against the wall. And then there's a back plate here. This unit has two thumb screws. One at the top left and one at the top right. So you unscrew those. And then you just pull this off. Then you drop it down in, give it a little turn, and then pull it straight out. And then you want to take out the reservoir cover, the float tank cover. It's got a little tab. You just press on that and lift it out. It comes right out. All right, so now that we've got the cover out, you can take this foam off. It's insulation, just pops off. And put that up there. Now you can clean this cover. So basically, get some warm water. You can see where the ice drops out, there's some scaling, I can feel it. I guess if you get a lot of scaling buildup, you can use some of that phosphoric acid on it, but it's not too bad, so I'm just going to use warm soapy water. Let it. And then use this detergent and just spray this. Let that sit for a second. I'm gonna, for the scoop, I'm just gonna run that through the dishwasher. And then here is the float tank cover, and I'll do the same treatment with that. Let that sit for a second. And then I'll just use a sponge to sponge it off. Like so. Make sure that's nice and clean. I'll hit it with the diluted bleach solution when that's finished, when we're finished. Super clean. All right, there's that. All right, here's a good look at what's going on inside the machine. It's a little bit dirty, so it's a good idea to clean the chute where the ice comes out and the compressor and around here. I already did that a little bit, but to initiate the cleaning process, you have to turn the machine off first, get all the ice out, and then the float tank that operates or turns on and off the water, you have to turn that off. So you move this up to lift the float up to shut the water off. And I guess that's good. And then you drain out the water. If it comes on, then I have to raise it up more. There's a plug under here. And you can hear the motor kick on to get the water out, the pump. And you see the water still going, so I have to raise the float up more. Now, the water's off, but I saw some crap come out of the drain, and it's in the bin here. So I'm going to take this hose off and clean this. Okay, so I removed the internal plumbing from the machine. These parts were very filthy. This is the drain for the overflow for the float tank. This is the plumbing for the auger that goes from the float tank. And this is the drain pipe for the bin. that goes in the back of the bin. I cleaned the float tank cover, cleaned the bin cover, and the insulation just comes off the back of the bin cover. You just pull it, there's no attachments, just pulls off. The scoop gets dirty. Sometimes the tip of the scoop goes in people's drinks when they're putting drinks in the cup with drink already in the cup. So that needs to be rinsed off, or the best way is just throw it in the dishwasher once in a while. So this is what I use to clean the plumbing. I used a toothbrush I got a freebie from the dentist, this long-handled scrubber brush for the back of the bin, and to rinse it out I used a spray bottle. Now these car detailing foam brushes came in handy. Can you see in the bin? Oh, let me get my flashlight. So I used that little car detailing foam thing to get in the back. You have to be careful because you don't know how far the pump motor is away from the opening. So I cleaned it all out, but you just have to be careful. Also, the back of this was filthy. That's where I used that long-handled scrubber brush. So I can get a better look at it. And then I rinse it out with that spray bottle. When you're removing the plumbing, make sure that you don't damage the float tank. It's plastic and can be easily damaged, so don't force it or horse it. Just be patient. The plumbing that went from the float tank to the auger was easy to take off. That overflow drain tube was more difficult, and that's the one you have to be careful with. The down tube that was in the back of the bin was easy to pull off too. And none of that was in the instructions on how to clean it, but I did it anyway. Okay, so I've reinstalled the plumbing, and all the components, the internal components, are clean now. So that was the tube that goes in the back of the bin, the plumbing that goes from the float tank to the auger, and then the overflow. So it's all reinstalled, all clean, but now it needs to be descaled. So we need to make the descaling solution. All right, so you got to fill up the float tank with your descaling solution. It's hard to get to. That's why you need one of these small squirt bottles with the neck on it. Let's see. So anyway. Now this squirt bottle is too small, the one that I have, so it's only filling up halfway with the capacity of this thing. So I'm going to fill it up the rest of the way. Okay, the float tank is filled with the descaling solution all the way up to the overflow level. I've got about this much solution left, so I just have to keep an eye on that as it goes down. You have to maintain a half full float tank level with the solution. So to start the process, one more thing. They said in the instructions that if you spill some of that phosphoric acid, that baking soda and water will neutralize it. So anyway, you press both of these buttons at the same time. Now that time to clean button will start flashing and the auger starting to make ice. I guess it's supposed to run for 10 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on it and make sure that that float tank maintains a half full level of solution. All right, so after 10 minutes, the compressor kicked on and the time to clean button went from blinking to solid. Now it's starting to make ice, and the level of solution in the float tank is going down. And then you can see some of the ice spitting out. See that? Just dropped. There's a little bit of residue in there, but not too bad, to be honest. So we'll keep an eye on the float tank and keep that filled with solution, or half filled with solution. And then once I'm done with my 16 ounces of solution, or what I've got left, then that portion will be complete. And then you put the float back on. But I'll record that when we get to that step. All right, so all the fluid that I put in there is gone. Well, it's down below the plumbing level. So they say drop the float and turn the water on when it's halfway or when all your fluid's gone, but I wanted more of that solution to run through the system. So now that it has, and the level's probably down here somewhere, I'm gonna drop the float. And that's that. So I guess it's gonna run for a little bit longer, running ice through the system. The ice, anybody want any phosphoric ice, acid ice? It's a little gray, but I guess that's just because it's cleaned the system properly, but it's not too bad. To be honest, I thought it'd be worse than that. So the time to clean button's still on. The clean water's coming into the system now. There's still diluted phosphoric acid water in there, but I guess that's it. You know, I'll just wait for the time to clean light to shut off. I guess the total process is 40 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it and set the see what my timer says. All right, so right about 50 minutes, the clean cycle quit. It stopped. So there's a bunch of this gray ice in the bottom of the bin. So it took about 50 minutes for the whole cycle. 10 minutes for the auger to cycle through the cleaning solution, and then the blinking light stopped, and then for the next 40 minutes it just made this ice, this scrungy ice. So now that the system's clean, now we've got to get rid of all the solution that's in the system out, and we need to flush this out. So what you do is you pull the drain plug out and that'll flush the system. So we'll let that run for a little bit because I want all that stuff out. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit. Okay, there's a little notch in the back of the float tank that lid fits in, and then there's a notch in the front for this tab right here. So you just push that down. And you can see that the cover is over the float tank. So now I've got to put the bin cover on. All right, so the bin cover, we've got to put that back on. You just put this insulation on. See, the other, it just slides in like that. And then you have to attach those 2 thumb screws in the holes up there. Can you see that? Yeah, there they are. Right there's one, and then there's the other. So let me do that. All right, so the thumb screws in the bin cover are on. There's that one and that one. And then the bottom of it is on there. Won't come off. All right, I'm gonna flush out the ice. Pour some hot water in there. Fumble. Drop another bowl of it. Hot water in there. I'll do one more. All right. There's that. Now the pump's running and draining out all the water and the residue that's in there from the descaling process. Some sediment. Let me try to get that down the drain. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, you can use some scale remover to get any scale residue off, but I don't really see much. So I'm just gonna hit it with bleach solution to sanitize it, and then give it a little scrub. There, that should be nice and clean and sanitized. Now I'm gonna give it another rinse. So one more bucket of rinse. I'm gonna use my little squirt bottle to get any other components that might have gotten bleach on it, because bleach will rust anything. So that should do it. There. All right, so now I'm going to put the kick plate back on and the service panel cover. So it's making ice now, clean ice, and that's it.